understood how they can bring the research to their classrooms. So we have different types of combinations. But the interesting thing here, I would say, is that we have this gap, which is no longer a gap, not that much anyway. The other thing that is important is that it has an immediate impact on the setting because it is based on day-to-day work. This is, again, Somek with Novke. And because actually what we want to do with action research is to have an impact on our practice, on what we do, because actually we feel that maybe what we do is not working well. And then we are moving a step forward and saying, okay, we need to do something about it. So the impact comes directly into our practice. And this is very much related to the previous statement, which is action research is done by particular people in their own work to help improve what they do. This is an idea which is very much connected. So you can see that they are all very much in line. And they refer to what people do in their work. Actually, action research can be done in other settings, not only school settings. It can be done in a hospital, for example, with patients. Actually started in the 1940s by Lewis, in psychology more than education. But anyway, the thing is that we work from the inside, from our own context. And in the context, we define what we want to do. Okay? Good. Action research in schools. Actually, many people think it's very difficult to do research in schools because there are some constraints. There are some problems. For example, if we do research in schools, we need to have, if we were to interview pupils, we need to have the parents' consent, for example. We need, if we come from the outside. However, one of the advantages of doing action research is that the teacher in the classroom or with somebody else might be doing the research, which is somebody that doesn't really come from the outside. It's, he or she is part of the same context. And it tries to solve everyday practical problems experienced by teachers rather than pure theoretical problems. We have touched upon this issue already, but I think this is something that we have to remember all the time. The aim is to deepen the teacher's understanding or diagnosis of a problem, normally an exploratory problem. The teacher feels that there is a problem in the classroom. Many times the problems come as intuitions or as observations. And then later on they become a real research question. But they have to become a research question. They have to follow some protocol. They don't, otherwise it's not real research. In explaining the situation, action research tells a story about the event by relating it to a context from the participants' viewpoints. This is really interesting and really crucial in action research. We're actually listening to the people. We're not, we don't come with a story from the outside. The story comes from the inside. It's the students, it's the teachers, it's the head teachers, it's the people in that context that will have to tell us the story by different ways. And obviously, it's not telling a story as if you were telling a story to a friend, obviously. By telling a story, what I mean is talking about a situation that obviously, as a researcher, has to be predefined. But in that, we don't intervene so much. There might be other ways so that people speak up, and then they say what they feel. For example, in an interview, with an open-ended question that people are asked, okay, tell me about your experience in this class. So there are many ways in which we can make people tell the story, okay? The story might be called a case study. We're working within one classroom, for example, and this is our case. We're interested, for example, in finding out why students have lost motivation. Last year they had a teacher, their motivation was high, for example. This year they have changed the teacher and their motivation is low. Suppose, this is just an example that comes to my mind now. And the case study will be this particular class, and we will probably analyze what happened in between, okay? In the action research, the relationships are shown by concrete descriptions rather than causal laws. What is interesting here is that we're interested in descriptions of concrete phenomena that take place in the classroom, okay? We don't come with the laws, any laws that come from top down, from research to the school. We come from the description that emerge, and then we provide, the law comes. So in that sense, it's rather exploratory, and it comes from the bottom, okay? Some characteristics of action research. Action research is collaborative. Why do we say that this is collaborative? Well, mainly because actually, in the first place, we have, for example, a classroom. If we don't have the students' participation, and they are our subjects, supposedly, then obviously there is no research. Another thing is that we might want to collaborate with somebody else. We might want to do research with a colleague, or with somebody that comes from outside that has more experience doing research. But it is always an amount of people doing this. It's not only somebody who decided to do research a topic, it's the participants that actually make this happen. It is undertaken in situ. This means in the classroom, in the place. Otherwise, where do I get my data from? There is no way. It uses feedback from data in an ongoing process. I will refer to the process. I have 2 slides later on that I will show 2 different viewpoints of how this happens, and this is a cycle, okay? I have a problem that I think is a problem. I investigate, I evaluate, I pose my questions, I carry out research, etc., and then it starts again, okay? It frequently uses case study, which is the research technique, because normally it refers to one single classroom, even it can refer to one single student, okay? A situation that I have with one single student that for some reason has changed his or her attitudes to learning, for example, okay? So it's very much constrained. Well, we referred to that before. It contributes to a science of education. We said that even if we're doing research in English or in English as a foreign language, we actually belong to the science of education, and we have to remember that when we do research. Action research is critical collaborative inquiry by reflective practitioners. We're always thinking, and this is very important, that action research comes as a reaction to something. It doesn't come out of the blue. It comes because we are reflecting, and many times because we are with somebody else, actually. We talk and we compare, and I tell my colleague, listen, my students are not learning very well this. What do you do to teach this? And how did it work? And why did it work? Why didn't it work? Etc. So in this, we find this collaboration and permanent reflection by colleagues, practitioners that are